Well, here it is. This is episode 11, I believe, now of the Salty Sports Show. Steven's back today. Um,
Yes, sir.
definitely, this is definitely an exciting one. Week one of the NFL happened, and I mean, this is something I think we were all looking forward to from the very start of when we did this. Oh boy, football season. Um,
Yes. Watching Red Zone again
yes.
feels good.
So I guess we'll lead off with Thursday night football. And of course Thursday night football was a couple of really just really that was just a really well fought game. I mean, two of the three primetime games we got were well fought, but we'll get to the Ravens one later with the Raiders. But for now, I mean, this had the feeling of a playoff game. It had the atmosphere of one. Dallas and Tampa went down on the wire. Of course, the fatal flaw that the Cowboys made was giving Brady too much time. I know this is a hot take, and I understand why we took the points. I think you have to get that's a good. You should trust your defense, but at the same time, I feel like with the decent field position we had and everything, if with a good play call, I feel like that last Dallas drive, we could have gone for it on fourth down and seen what could have happened. Because if we convert that fourth down, we can just run out the clock and win on a field goal, or or even go for a touchdown with way less time. But less more about the end. Let's talk about like the journey. The game was a game of mistakes, and that's really what won the game for Tampa, despite mistakes of their own. You can lay the blame at a lot. There are different mistakes. Now, obviously, as a Cowboys fan, it's extremely frustrating that I would say that Tampa wasn't penalized twice on their game-winning drive. I think Brady intentionally grounded on one play. I think on
He
the
did it for
And he
all
did
three of the
that
plays
twice.
of the
Yeah,
new
he did
set of
that. He did
downs.
that like twice.
yeah
No, he did it 3 times. I remember.
Oh,
He was just
I
trying to
thought it
run
was
down the
twice.
clock because it was after that catch with who was it? I think it was Chris Godwin, that very controversial push off. That really put the Buccaneers in field goal position. Yeah, the next 3 plays after, Brady just took 2 seconds and threw it out of bounds.
yeah. And even before there was like a pretty bad intentional grounding, and then obviously there was the big Chris Godwin one. But at the same time, there is some blame to lay at ourselves. I mean, people will point out Greg Zerline. But if you have to understand logical consequence and flow. If Greg Zerline nails his kick, we're probably not getting the touchdown that ensued because of the fumble, I believe, or it was the interception. It happened pretty quickly. Afterwards, and so that was a very that was a very interesting series of events. Um,
I believe. Okay, I'm gonna take over. So Saul had to go for a second. Uh, and honestly, going up to it, I just wanted to mention. I'm gonna go off on tangents and let Saul finish his point when he comes back. But game was like surprisingly well coached, and I think like we knew going into it that it was gonna be like a high scoring one. Like Dak come back from injury, there was like some concerns there. And but Brady's 2020 obviously was fantastic, but ultimately what really came out was they had a lot of great plays on each end. McCarthy really surprised me because I mean I think the guy's kind of a laughing stock, but on both ends everyone was really in it, and it was I mean every game is a game built off of mistakes, but it's really on how they capitalize on those mistakes that just really came out for me. I thought they were just some fantastic play calling on each end.
It's weird because I kind of felt like Dallas played the better game and still ended up losing at the end because of a Lowell Brady 2-minute under 2-minute drill. Because I mean Tampa, they didn't do well on third down. They had 4 turnovers, including 2 interceptions by Brady. I'm pretty sure both of them
neither of the interceptions I don't think were like that bad. Brady still was phenomenal.
Those were like deflections up in the air, but still,
and one of them was like at the end of the first half.
2 fumbles. I mean, it felt like Dallas played the better game, and I think Prescott went over for 400 yards in his return. The debut.
Yeah, that was a big one. I think the thing that ultimately cost us the game, I think is just that I think CeeDee Lamb really needed to clean up the play. I think he'll clean it up as the season goes on. It's just early season. It's this kind of things that happen. There is, even though I said there was a playoff feel to it, there was also a very big week one feel to it with the amount of mistakes. I think that basically, I feel like Lamb had 2 drops that swung the game to Tampa's favor. To me, it's just. I think to me, if what is it? I'm just trying to think. Man, it's just like so. There was the first one on the first drive. I was just trying to collect the 2 drives. That was he dropped that. That was getting Dallas in field goal range. If he gets that, there was the other one that was the interception. If Lamb holds on to that ball, we're talking about likely a 10 to 14 point swing.
Yeah.
The big thing, I guess, about that is that that swing is just like so influential there that I'm not going to say CeeDee Lamb cost us the game because without him, I certainly don't think we're in a good position to win it. He made some really good plays. But you could say that like he just had a couple more things he could have done that could have won it. The other thing to note, people will criticize Dallas's defense, but say for Anthony Brown, the secondary held up well. It was a good performance by that group. I could appreciate it a lot. Trevon Diggs did exceptional against Mike Evans. I liked what I saw from him, especially. I liked what I saw from Parsons. I liked what I saw from DeMarcus Lawrence, who unfortunately just got injured and will miss 8 weeks, which is infuriating, man.
Yeah.
We lost Leo Collins too to a suspension. It's like, and Michael Gallup got hurt in the game, and that's the bigger loss isn't the game. It's just everything Dallas has taken in the ensuing days since that game, and
yeah, it's been hell.
I guess my takeaway though is that we're capable of throwing punches with the best of them, which I mean that's our upside. We can throw punches with the best of them. We're gonna see how this team progresses. We won't be at full strength until week 8 or 9, which that's gonna suck. But hey, if you're getting the full strength at that final stretch of the season, there's no better time to be at full strength. I think the other the big takeaway here for me is that Dak still has it. The injury hasn't put a dampen him. Tyron Smith still has it. He was amazing in the game, and that what's his face? I'm Amari Cooper. People were starting to doubt Cooper. I saw people leaving him off their top 10 lists. I don't think he was put on the NFL top 100 because he wasn't having Dak throw to him, so it wasn't looking good. So I'm thinking here. I'm thinking here like we have this team that's just looking competitive, and that's just what I want to see. I like the competitiveness. I like the fight. We did it without Zach Martin too. But like I said, it's hard to feel as good about that game, like the moral victory at the end of it, as it was a few days ago when we had Leo Collins. We're expecting him to keep playing, not being suspended, with DeMarcus Lawrence at health, and that's just gonna suck.
Yeah.
But
overall, can you say you were happy with the performance of the Cowboys on Thursday?
taking away the fact of what happened since Thursday, yeah, I could say that I was happy. They fought and they did well.
That's really all you have to say. I mean, from a team that, struggled last year due to a major injury on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, that's something that you can kind of hold your hat on right there. Y'all played a really good match against the reigning Super Bowl champions, which we just spent 10 minutes on last episode discussing how they're going to be the best team in the NFL once again. So,
yeah,
good for them.
Shall we move on?
Yeah,
Can't say that about my team, though.
So what's up next? Are we going to Kansas City versus the Browns?
Yeah, we could talk about that.
All right,
I'll let one of you guys kind of lead off there.
Yeah. I mean, it was a pretty intense matchup. Honestly, I mostly got the first half of the game, and it was kind of a slow start. And I mean, I could kind of understand that because usually some of the high stakes matchups kind of, you'll get a little bit overhyped and you'll get a little bit too excited. And it did look like Mahomes was getting slowed down quite a bit at the early half. Didn't really play poorly or anything, but then he really started to come to his own later, as obviously anyone would have seen him come. What anyone would have seen coming. But overall, made for a pretty intense matchup, pretty close. It did feel like the Chiefs were kind of in control for most of it. I'm gonna be honest. It was one of those close matchups in my book, at least. I was like, it didn't feel its closeness, at least. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyone agree? Disagree?
Yeah, I will say Cleveland had the game in the first half. Like, they were doing everything right. I felt like they were playing really good football. Then it just kind of fell apart after quarter number, after halftime.
That was when it really fell off.
Yeah, I mean, Patrick Mahomes, he didn't get he didn't score or have a passing touchdown until that pass to Kelce in the third, or that really Kansas City really won this game off the last 10 minutes of the game.
Yeah, they really
because they took over in the fourth. What really hurt Cleveland was that turnover on downs that turned into a Kansas City touchdown off. And then that was game because they were up at that point.
Yeah, that was. I have to say, I think this was a good showing for both teams. I can't really say that Cleveland collapsed as much as just Kansas City being Kansas City. That's how they win on explosive plays. Yeah, you can argue. Yeah, you have to at least score once in that second half. Maybe it was the fourth quarter. I don't know. I think they were. I don't think they were quite blanked, but I think they were. They only.
No, they scored after the.
They got a third quarter touchdown. That was it, I think. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, and then they tried at the end. Then Mayfield threw a really bad looking interception. That was ball game right there. Yeah. With the momentum, I was honestly looking at the last drive and saying, yeah, Kansas City's going to win this game because they were. It was just kind of stagnant to that point for the offense. Still, I mean, we may see this a rematch right here in the playoffs, depending on how things shake out. This was really competitive, like we all thought it would be. It was a really good afternoon of football.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. I know, it just seemed a bit underwhelming to me. I'll admit it was one of the matchups that I wasn't as heavily focused on, but I don't know. It was a good matchup between two really good teams, admittedly, but I don't know. I just expected more from it. It just disappointed me a little bit.
Honestly, felt like going into the season, this should have been the Sunday night game for Week 1, but
the Big Six needed the opener at SoFi to be the game, but yeah, I honestly can see this being the AFC Championship.
I could see it as well. It's a good preview. It'll be nice to let these teams kind of settle in their own.
Yeah,
and then watch them rematch.
And I guess if you want to quickly talk about a game that would reinforce that sentiment, Buffalo got upset, and we won't go too long on that, but let's just say that Brian Daboll did an awful job as a play caller. And I guess it's also fair to say that just overall, there's just I just didn't necessarily um, I just didn't necessarily like what I saw from Buffalo's offense. I wasn't watching too much, but you got to give credit to that Pittsburgh defensive line. T.J. Watt, Cameron Hayward, those guys just had an absolute monster games and gave Josh Allen hell.
Oh yeah, they did. I mean that defense is going to give anyone hell, but that was just kind of like bleeding to the finish line. Both these teams because the Steelers are like decidedly mediocre, and the Bills matched up against that really well with, like you said, salt their play calling and just that bled into the play so heavily.
Yeah, Stephon Diggs really didn't have his day. That was, I think, the big coster here. Like I said, the thing about the Bills' offense last year is that you needed Diggs. The Diggs was the big difference. He was the X factor. Allen is the MVP, but Diggs was the game changer. And you keep Diggs in check like Pittsburgh did, and that's big. But
yeah, no, absolutely.
yeah, I guess that was kind of how I'm feeling about that. I guess if we want to talk about another shocker, I would call this the big shock game of the week. That was New Orleans against Green Bay. Steven, I'll let you talk about one because I feel like you'd be more than enthusiastic to.
Yeah, about Green Bay's quarterback. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers all off season. Dude's been being a clown. Let's just be honest here. Dude has got like the biggest God complex I've ever seen, and it's like hysterically unwarranted, like just absolutely unwarranted. Dude just goes dark on his team for like 4 months, and is just so like readily apparent about what he wants to do, and then he just backtracks. Just settles and it's fine. Settled what he needed to settle with Goot, who's has almost as big. I don't know if he has as much of an ego as Rodgers, but holy hell, he did not do well with that situation. So you just got these, and then they're just doing the last dance. Everyone knew it. It was no one really cared because who the hell would? And then going into it, my God, they just got smoked. Everyone on offense underperformed. Like it was hilarious how badly that they were just so unprepared. Like
Yeah.
I don't even know how to describe it really. At least Love came in was pretty good. I'll give him that. He showed some promise in his brief 7 passes, but overall it was a nightmare. And they got masterclass. They got Jameis masterclass them so hard it wasn't even funny. Like he like he got like 5 passing touchdowns and like the yardage wasn't great, but he still played really well. Like I'll give him like credit where credit's due. New Orleans came to play, and Green Bay is still getting into that groove if they can.
Yeah, like
They
I would
really
say,
need to get it.
yeah, I think that Jameis didn't have one of the more spectacular performances of the week. I wouldn't say people are going to cite the touchdown numbers, but I wouldn't say that he had a better performance than like Tom Brady, Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts, or kind of like those guys.
Yeah,
But I would say that he had did what he had to. He didn't turn over the ball. I mean, there was one that was called back, and I disagree with the callback, but it was still called back, and I mean that was also a very big momentum shifter. But still, like Jameis did his job. He got it done. Alvin Kamara was great, and that Saints defense is showing that it still has it in them.
yeah, no, for sure.
Oh, let me just say that about Green Bay. Talk about they only had 5 penalties the game, but I noticed every penalty they took were during crucial moments or third downs that they could have easily just stopped right there or converted their offense.
Yeah.
That's what killed them. That you mentioned it. It was the interception that got called back. There were a couple. I think earlier in the drive there was a big third down conversion that was called. I think it was a defensive pass interference. It was a. I mean, penalties, crucial penalties like that weren't the only problem with Green Bay that game, but
yeah,
pretty bad.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's kind of ironic and funny to see Green Bay fans being the ones complaining about the referees for once. This is like a quick tangent, but so like Green Bay fans are still like salty about that NFC title game. So when Dallas lost and everyone was getting mad about the call, there was like a lot of Packers fans that were throwing fits about it, and then I'm just sitting here like, dude, you're a Packers fan. You like have no right to say Dallas was screwed. Like that's like the last thing you can say.
Yeah,
that's just how it is.
Well. But yeah, I mean that was a good game. But Link, we're gonna talk about. We'll let you talk about this game, but Arizona and Tennessee.
Oh boy, yeah. No prime time for my team because after today's game we didn't earn it. See, Steven's favorite team and Saul's favorite team, they got prime time slots where everyone could have saw them. Only I think people in 3 states could see this game, and I'm glad that only 3 states got to see this game because this was a.
I wish only 3 states got to see my game.
Oh. Well,
but I digress. Yes, I'm sorry for interrupting. I digress.
Horrible game by Tennessee. Like, I can point to one man and just say Taylor Lewan had the worst game I've ever seen out of any offensive lineman. Like, oh my God. It was bad. Chandler Jones, kill him all day. By the way, Chandler Jones, 5 sacks. I think he won Defensive Player of the Week, if I read correctly. Yeah.
Oh, I have some funny news. Kyler Murray was named this week's MVP.
Well, good for him. He probably deserved it because he had a very good game. Extremely good.
Yeah.
Like, he got 5 TDs to his name, and he made the secondary look stupid, like, the entirety of last season. Like, it was a horrible game to watch, and we couldn't really counter back because our offensive line didn't really move in the trenches. So Derrick Henry couldn't really work off that. Ryan Tannehill sure couldn't work off that because he had he had 2 seconds to get the ball off before, he's about to get tackled for a loss. It was a miserable game to watch. I honestly don't want to have a situation like that again. And you know what? And it was pretty for a team I had such high expectations on. Yeah, that's not a good way to open your season it was a pretty crushing defeat to Arizona.
Yeah. I was, dude, my fantasy team hurt from that game because I relied on some Titans and yikes.
Yeah, really the only player who could really do anything on offense. AJ Brown, he played really well.
Yeah. Julio and Henry were disappointing. I guess that's just how it is.
Yeah. The only thing to really do is look to next week. It was a bad game. And it feels like, once again, we are having the same issue, and our secondary keeps getting torched. For some reason, it was the fact that our secondary got torched every game last season, that was kind of masked over the fact that our offense did really well. Yeah, today, not today, but Sunday, no.
Yeah, the Julio Jones drama too definitely didn't help.
Oh yeah, and oh my God, Cowboys fans are having a field day with if you remember the whole Shannon Sharpe thing in Julio. Oh boy.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the fact that he wanted to go to a winner, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And then lost. Yeah, whatever. There's still like 16 games delayed. So.
Yeah.
And apparently,
I feel
this is something.
I feel for you. I hope the Titans figure it out soon. But the thing about and this is gonna be weird to say, I still don't trust the Cardinals. I don't trust Cliff, and if you remember, they started last season by beating the defending NFC champions on the road, and this was when the Niners were healthy. So I'm just still like incredibly unsure how much I trust that they're going to sustain like they did last year. Unlike last year. So
yeah, maybe if Jones, maybe I don't know if they play next week, but I don't if this is all hype because he played a one-legged Taylor Lewan or not. I don't know.
Or is Jones just hyper motivated for a contract? We'll see that play out. He actually confirmed that he actually has a trade request still up, so we'll see what happens if he still gets moved potentially. I think Arizona and Cliff they want to win right now too much for that to happen unless there's a good price, but we'll see. Do you have anything left to say about the Titans game?
Not about the Titans game.
All right.
Done talking about it.
I guess, for another game, just quickly, a couple AFC South games to kind of go through quickly. The Texans absolutely beat the shit out of Jacksonville. Tyrod Taylor had a great performance.
Yeah.
This was kind of a shocker to me. I thought that the Jaguars receivers against the Texans corners would be a massive mismatch, but that wasn't the case. Vernon Hargreaves had a surprisingly good game. It's kind of a shocker. I mean, Trevor Lawrence just didn't do all. He was fine, but he didn't do all that great. I just say really, really good performance by Houston. This is going to obviously draw some criticisms on Urban Meyer, deservedly so.
And a media circus with apparently, with the Southern Cal job open. He said that, there's no way I'm going to USC. Well, you know how the integrity of college coaches are. If they say I'm not taking this job, there's a 50% chance they're going to take the job at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is not a good look for Jacksonville. I called it, though, because I thought this was Houston's one or, the only few games they had a shot at winning, and they proved me right. Yeah. An uncoordinated Jaguars team.
Yeah. I guess the other AFC South game, the Seahawks just absolutely took it to the Colts. They had Wentz and Nelson back, but that wasn't enough. Wentz had a solid first half, but kind of ghosted after, but still looked better than his last two in Philly. In the meantime, Russell Wilson absolutely killed them with the deep ball, and that's how the Seahawks won.
Yeah. That was insane.
And that put the Texans at the top of the AFC South going into week 2.
Yeah, here comes the early Russell Wilson MVP hype. All right, Steven, Link, I'm going to ask you both. How long until the train falls off, or is it going to fall off?
So last year was like till week 6, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so this year, probably around the same, I'd say. I don't know. I don't really have any reason to think any different.
Just
give it like a few weeks, like
I'm looking at the schedule right now for Seattle, and I think these upcoming games, there's a collapse. LA, Pittsburgh, New Orleans. There's a Jacksonville game thrown in there, but
see, I just see him overperforming like in all those because that's always going to ride the MVP hype. Is people are just going to look at those and be like, oh my God, guys, this is it. This is the year.
Yeah, and then
kind of last year, and then they'll just wait, and then he'll just kind of slowly fall off. And
usually the one that loses him out of the MVP voting is he usually loses a game pretty badly to the other candidate. Like, he lost to Lamar Jackson and Deshaun Watson pretty badly. And then he lost to Josh Allen pretty badly, and that's kind of what kills the train. I know this is like a whole speculative thing, but like we're just doing this for fun. Maybe he can win MVP this year. We'll see.
We're just trolling. Don't worry about it.
We have until January to speculate on that, but for now, let's just keep it. Let's keep it real. Like a quick mention of keeping it real.
We were talking
the team
about
slightly to the north of Nashville, Cincinnati. They played an interesting game against Minnesota.
Yeah,
and it was in a game that should have been a tie. Because that overtime period was just them giving each other opportunities to just win the game right there, but they just, I don't know.
Steven,
the offense for Cincinnati, actually, no sacks, but then again, they were a team that was ranked the worst pass rush in football last year. So,
of course, with Danielle Hunter coming back, that obviously is a big change, but still, yeah.
Yeah, but still, 0 sacks. a lot of optimism in Cincinnati. Let's see how far that goes for them.
Yeah. I'm gonna ask Steven, how are you feeling about that Survivor pool pick, man?
And that was upsetting. That was real upsetting. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm
Although I was never really, dude.
Go
I'm
ahead.
not gonna lie. I was never rooting for the Vikings. I'm gonna be honest. Like I didn't even care at the survival pool pick at the like by quarter 4. I was just like, man, I don't care. I'm taking the L. I'll gladly take the L if it means I get to watch the secondary get torched.
Yeah.
Although the Bears secondary got absolutely torched even more. So I don't know. So I guess
I was gonna
even
say, I'm considering taking the Bengals next week in Survivor pool because to me the Bears have like a similar defensive profile to the Vikings, like strong front seven, really weak secondary, and then their offense is even worse.
Their front seven is so old, man. Like their front seven's literally just like one Khalil Mack injury for 2 weeks, for like 3 weeks away from just giving up 80 points a game. Like I'm telling you, it's this. I guess we should just go into the Bears game because we're basic. Because if I'm gonna rant about the Bears, like we gotta talk about the Bears game.
Yeah, we're already leaning into it.
All right, let's go for it. Okay, so
do you mind if I just talk about one Bengals player, real quick?
Yes, you may.
Jamar Chase had a great game that silenced all the doubters and all of the preseason. Like, this guy's gonna be a bust talk, and
weren't you one of those people? I could have sworn saw you were there on the fence.
Because like
I was doing it for the memes.
At the time, I don't know, it just felt like a weird pick. I mean,
it did, yeah. I mean, I always thought he was good. It's just the fit was just kind of crazy. It was just like, it really did feel like they just drafted him because he was LSU guy.
Yeah,
like there was a reason he was one of on the board. Like, it's just for a team like that, especially like timing after Joe Burrow went down because of the offensive line ineptitude. You'd think they'll get an offensive lineman, but no. But hey,
it's like whatever.
But go. All right, Bears
Rams game. Yeah, you could talk about that.
All right. So they lost 34-14 to the Rams at SoFi, which no one was surprised by. Everyone thought it was going to be a huge blowout. Honestly, the fact that the Bears scored 14, people were more surprised by. Outlooks for the Bears. The secondary was terrible. This Bears secondary is like legit. Is so hysterically bad. Like I cannot fathom what it's like having Kyle Fuller gone. Jalen Johnson's our cornerback 1. You had Marquis Christian being our cornerback 2. He got so cooked it wasn't even funny, man. They were like, dude, Stafford would just throw downfield 60 yards, and like literally anytime Marquis Christian would be just 30 yards behind the receiver, make an easy catch, get a touchdown pass. Like that happened so much. It was so excruciating to watch. But honestly, Eddie Jackson, oh boy. It has not been a good few years for Eddie Jackson. And he got burned so hard on that first play. I forgot who it was who scored that touchdown. It was like Jefferson, I think.
Yeah,
I'm not 100% sure.
Oh god, yeah, no one touched him when he was down.
Oh my god.
This isn't college football. This isn't college football, kids.
Dude, he cooked like 2. Dude, he cooked like our entire secondary getting up just after laying down, after falling.
I mean,
and I was just like, what are we doing?
Was Eddie Jackson just an Adrian Amos merchant? I mean,
yeah, dude, for real. I mean, Adrian Amos been great. Eddie Jackson been bad.
Yeah.
Who's in the right there? You ask me. Anyway, I digress. Secondary is really bad. We need Kyle Fuller, but we have Jimmy Graham, so I guess we're gonna have to live with that.
But hey,
front seven.
He was there.
Yeah.
He played.
My gosh.
And he got a touchdown.
He did get a touchdown. Yeah, Fields was just in a few plays, kind of just like the just seeing what they're. I don't know. It's in a weird spot because I do think Nagy really could open the playbook with Fields still. Like I mean like they focus really strongly on like not going past like 10 yards. Like if you look at Robinson's routes from that weekend, he didn't really play at all. Like he was radio silent, and for a reason, because he really didn't have much. Like what's he gonna do on just like a bunch of checkdowns and shit? Like he's just they're just throwing just short passes, and Robinson just is not thriving on that end.
Yeah.
And none of the wide receivers really were, except for Marquise Goodwin, who was playing really well actually. And Dave Montgomery on the run game was fantastic. But the offense was just really conservative. It's the typical Bears conservative offense that we've seen like the last 3 years.
Yeah,
and it's really annoying.
More that Nagy just sees the limits in his starting quarterback, possibly. But
yeah, that's what I'm thinking, because like I do think that Fields expands the play, but I think it's more than just like, oh, Nagy sucks at coaching. Like having Andy Dalton and Mitch Trubisky sucks. Okay, I'm so done with people just looking back on this and being like, well, I tried telling you guys, Mitch should be better than Dalton, but no one listened to me. Like, please shut up, okay? Please, I do not care. I simply do not care, okay? And but really, it's not a huge upgrade. And going from like Trubisky to Foles to Dalton, like in the last 3 years, I mean, really, what the hell difference is that making between those three? I mean, like, there's sure Dalton's better than the other two, but it's still the same kind of dealio.
Yeah.
In or at least from what I'd say. So I do think some of it does lie on Nagy for sure. Like we've seen an unwillingness to go beyond what he did yesterday was kind of unacceptable in any capacity. But really, you think Fields would be able to expand his playbook pretty significantly. So I'm not exactly sure what the plan is going forward or how it'll adjust, but I don't know. It was just the Rams just cooked us. They didn't like play like out of their minds. They just really played up to their talent against the team whose defense was really bad.
Yeah.
Stafford showed that the reason he sucked was because he played in Detroit, which everyone knew. And I didn't even care if people think he's overrated, man. All right, he was so obviously gonna cook us. It wasn't even fun. He was just that was like his revenge. He deserved that after what we did to him for like the last 10 years. Like holy hell.
Dude, I hate when people are saying, "Man, Stafford's not that big of an upgrade on Goff," because he was like, people are overestimating how like privileged he was to throw to Calvin Johnson, some other good receivers like Jones and Galladay. But like, okay, but if he's gonna be able to throw to Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp, have a good run game, he's still gonna perform. So if you think he's a system quarterback, then welcome to the system of all systems to be a quarterback in. Like,
that's well put.
But yeah, I guess if you have anything more to say about that game, or if we could kind of move on.
Yeah, I think we can move on. That's basically it. We'll come back week 2 when I have the same complaints.
So I'm gonna kind of speed through a few games, and then I'll have about a couple that we'll spend a minute or two on.
Sure.
So the Eagles took care of the Falcons with relative ease. The Falcons' offensive line was atrocious. Matt Ryan did not look good. Kyle Pitts and Calvin Ridley should have done much better, considering the Eagles' secondary being a pretty massive weakness. But
oh, dude, Calvin really trolled me so hard in fantasy, man. Like, there's no way that you can have the guy go 4 for 4 in receptions to start the game and then just use him once for the next 4 quarters. Like, that's just ridiculous. Who's doing this?
Of course, with the Eagles, great play, great kudos to that defensive line, which has some nice quality to it. But Jalen Hurts was the star of the show. He had a game that Eagles fans definitely love. Devontae Smith having an excellent debut. On the contrary to Kyle Pitts. If I have a takeaway from this, and yes, it is an overreaction to Week 1, but this was something I was saying in the offseason. The Falcons were stupid to try to attempt a soft reset, and that they should have gone for the hard rebuild. But, aside from that, I guess all I could say is that we know that the Eagles are capable of beating up on other bad teams, and so they might not be picking, as high as maybe previously thought.
That's true.
I guess the next game that I'll go quickly on, Jets Panthers, Sam Darnold revenge game. What a game for Christian McCaffrey. Zach Wilson was running for his life. Hopefully, Mekhi Becton, he got hurt, but he'll be back sometime later in the season, which is great for him. Hopefully Wilson can stay healthy, because oh boy, is he gonna get hit a lot.
Yeah,
Darnold definitely looked improved. I like what I saw out of both defenses, though, especially the Carolina one. Brian Burns absolutely feasted. J.C. Horn, the rookie, was pretty impressive. But the Jets receiving group kind of had a disappointing day outside of Corey Davis. Link,
Yeah, Jets in general were just kind of disappointed.
Link, if you got anything to add.
Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly not too shocked how Corey Davis performed against the Jets because, I mean, out of the Panthers, I was high on him. I mean, I always thought him as like a good short game or a short yard receiver.
Yeah.
I didn't actually watch the Jets game. I don't know how they're using him, but I mean, they're using him for good production. And let me just say, good debut for Elijah Moore. 1 reception, -3 yards.
Yeah.
On 4 targets. Good debut for him, but
yeah. I guess we can move to another game that I'm not even going to give a minute. The Broncos just manhandled the Giants, and I feel like any optimism you could have had about the Giants, overreaction to 1 week, but that has to sway a lot of it. I mean, the defense, which was allegedly the strong point, got destroyed by Teddy Bridgewater. You can only imagine what more high-octane offenses with better quarterbacks are going to do to that. I mean, they have Dallas twice on their schedule. They're going to have to play Kansas City. That's going to be rough for the Giants. But I will give one thing is that Andrew Thomas played well, which that's what you like to see. Another game that we'll go quickly on before we give these two. We'll give the 3 last games a bit of time. Obviously varying time. There's of course, the Niners against the Lions. The Niners looked to be well in control. Their defense did well. Jimmy Garoppolo looked good. Trey Lance came in and threw a touchdown. The run game was strong. Unfortunately, Mostert's out of the year, but Elijah Mitchell played well. I will say that Trey Sermon and Brandon Ayuk, fantasy owners, both have very big reasons to be upset at Kyle Shanahan right now. Brandon
it got
Ayuk
scary in the last 5 minutes though.
Yeah, Brandon Ayuk came out for a few snaps, but just didn't get any catches. Deebo Samuel absolutely had a game. On the Detroit side, T.J. Hawkinson, he looked good. But the big storyline was that Detroit was storming back at the end. In the end, though, it was the big lead that prevailed, and while Detroit tried, a big Deebo fumble led them to have the ability to try to drive for the win, or if it was a tie, I don't remember. The Niners defense were able to hold and win the game. Bit of a sloppy performance from the Niners at the end, but I mean,
they also got the onside kick,
yeah,
but they couldn't really, and they got a touchdown off it, but then that late fumble, but the late fumble almost that almost gave Detroit the game right there. But they tried; they were up into I think about field goal range, like 20-ish, 30 yards line. But I mean, unfortunately, they just couldn't, they turned the ball over, and that was the end of the game.
Yeah, and that was
turnovers on down. He didn't. Goff had a good game though.
That was the big difference there, and then, of course, we'll give these 3 games a bit of time, but not too much. We'll start with the Dolphins and the Patriots, the battle of the Alabama quarterbacks. This one was one that I would say came down to the wire. Of course, big defensive turnovers were the difference, but the Dolphins got the last one ultimately. I would say that Mac Jones had the better game than Tua. That's the one good thing that Patriots fans could probably brag about and take away from the game. But the Dolphins were the ultimate winners. Similarly to Dallas in the opener, and I know I'm bringing this up for no reason in other teams' games, but excuse me for that. But what killed New England's chance to win was converting in the red zone and having to settle for field goals. Of course, the fumbles off the run wasn't good as well. Obviously, Damian Harris fumbling there, not good, and Xavier Howard adds to that pretty turnover turnovers that he's getting, those numbers, but this time from the recovered fumble that won the game from Miami after their offense was able to get a first down and run out the clock. Next up, I guess we have the two best remaining games left in the season. And that would be well, not of the season, but of the week, and that would be the Chargers against the Washington football team. I watched that one. I'm not sure if you two watched it, but it was obviously in that area. It was there. Very good game.
See, that was like, that was. Sorry, I just want to interject because I've watching the Bears play over the past 2 years. You get used to watching defenses match up against each other in low-scoring games, and it was 20-16. So it does appear to be a low-scoring game, but the Chargers' offense really did show up. Like, it really did come to play. It's just that the football team's defense is so stacked. It's flushed with depth from head to toe, and they've got their problems offensively, no doubt about it. And I think that's why everyone thought the Chargers were going to win it going into it. But really, just seeing a matchup of defenses with the offense showing up from the Chargers end, and with a football team still keeping it competitive, I mean, that's just what you like to see out of those matchups like that. That's just what people say. They like, watching defenses is like so much fun.
Yeah,
and that's what they mean right there.
I regret not mentioning in the last game that Penei Sewell looked way better at left tackle, because I wanted to shout out the Chargers rookie left tackle, Rashawn Slater, who had an excellent performance against Chase Young, who then swapped sides with Montez Sweat, and he did well against Sweat too. And I mean, Slater was just excellent. He kept Herbert protected, and really good game for him. Herbert did well. Austin Eckler, who had some injury questions, looked very impressive in the game. Nice game for Mike Williams too. Of course, turnovers like in the last game were big. Herbert threw an interception that may have kind of damned it to William Jackson, the guy that I confused with Mike Hilton like a dumbass in the last episode. But yeah, William Jackson, a big play, but Antonio Gibson pissed it away with the fumble, and Herbert was able to find the end zone. I believe it was with Mike Williams to get the winner, but I really liked what I saw out of the Chargers offensively and defensively. I think that their defense looked well. Brandon Staley is definitely giving them a really nice looking defense. Derwin James being back is big, and I think for Washington on their side of the ball, I honestly thought that they were better when Taylor Heineke came in versus Fitzpatrick. So
no, for sure.
I would like to see what happens with that.
I really like how the Chargers. They played a very conservative game on offense, and it paid off for them. They ate up lots of time.
Yeah, they ran the ball well, and that is
it was a working strategy though, for sure.
Yeah, what impressed me was the final drive of the game. They managed to eat up all 6 minutes remaining in the game.
Yeah,
to give them the win. Just very long drives. I like it.
Big credit to their offensive line, which was a concern coming in, that looked good against the best defensive line in football. Like I said, Rashawn Slater, big impact, but the other members of that O-line showed up as well. So, yeah, there was a lot to like from what I saw, and that's a very encouraging performance from the Chargers, who are looking to stamp a playoff ticket. Very ambitious. Staley he's a great coach. Washington, I think they did somewhat well tactically, but my major problem was at the safety position. I think that Cameron Curl should have gotten more snaps, and that you should really be using him more than Landon Collins. Landon Collins should be a more of a box guy. But let's move on now, I guess, from
the final game we're talking about, because it's the last one.
Monday Night Football. Commentated by the Mannings, if you watched it on ESPN too.
Very entertaining. It was I'd say probably one of the. It's behind the Dallas Tampa game in terms of like the best of the week.
Yeah. If you had to decide the best game of the week, it's either Thursday or Monday Night Football. I was complaining, why is this a primetime game? But it delivered 100%. It delivered.
Yeah, it did.
In the first game at that, what they call it, they call it the Death Star.
Yeah.
With fans at least, and it was like actually kind of like. I mean, I kind of going into it. This is just dumb tangent, but I thought it'd just be like every other fishbowl looking stadium or fish tank, but no, I actually like the look of it. But anyway, time to actually talk about the game.
Yes. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I was kind of disappointed for a little bit of it. It did feel like it lacked momentum until like the fourth quarter. That was kind of when it really came out.
Yeah.
And it was like a good game to watch. It was just like there was like some upsetting coaching on both ends, in my opinion. I think Gruden really was kind of struggling earlier on. I think he really kind of, and then fourth quarter really came in.
Yeah.
Really came into it. Whereas with Bucks Cowboys, sorry, what were you saying, Lee?
That's what I was about to say. Put off your point. I mean, it got really chaotic, especially like in the fourth quarter. Like it just like bam, event, touchdown, fumble, touchdown. It was crazy.
Yeah, and I know Steven was about to bring this up, but yeah, I would say Bucks Cowboys was a more consistent 4-quarter affair.
Yeah, I was gonna say yeah. But I think the coaching there was a better matchup. I think that overall like that is kind of like what you want. Like that was like kind of like it was kind of like this matchup on steroids in terms of how both the teams played. Not to denounce this because this was still a lot of fun to watch down to that final touchdown from the Raiders, but I don't know. It was. It was. You know what you guys know what I mean? Yeah. I'm still Bucks Cowboys. I'm still saying it's better, but this I'd say is like I'd solidly class that as like a poor man's version of that game. Yeah. The momentum was very up in the air. It just neither team really took a real shot at it until the fourth quarter and inevitably overtime, which is really where the game which is really where the meat and bones of the game came from, in my opinion.
And like shout out to some components on the Raiders. I mean, before this, I'll say Lamar Jackson. He's getting some heat for the game. He was really on his own, man. I mean, Alejandro Villanueva was atrocious, and he man, just retire. But yeah, he just didn't. He got destroyed by Max Crosby, who had a great game. I mean, on the receiving end, Waller was awesome. Brian Edwards had a great moment. So did Henry Ruggs. So did Hunter Renfrow. I mean, the weapons showed up.
Lots of variety when it came to the Raiders' offense.
Though the one consistent factor in every drive was throw it to Waller. That was something that was never in doubt. And of course, the man of the game, Derek Carr, he had a really good performance. And we were talking about in the AFC season preview about how the element of the surprise is the biggest thing to do with the Raiders. And for any and every team, they are the trap game. They are the trap game.
Yeah.
You can never count on the Raiders to lose a game in their schedule. You can say that they're an underdog, but you can't treat it like, man, you can't just bet against them with like, I would say 100% confidence like you could with some other teams.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they have like their roster is just nice. It's got some good depth. Just like nothing really stands out significantly in my eyes at least.
That defense could use a lot of work still.
Yeah,
Alex
exactly.
Leatherwood wasn't too impressive. His penalty may have been costly, but that Lamar fumble leading to that really nice, beautiful touchdown by Carr off the back foot. That was just a very fun affair. I guess if anyone has any last thing to say about this.
I'm good.
I mean, we started week 1 with a very entertaining game. We ended week 1 with a very entertaining game. This is a very good week 1. Lots of interesting, especially like look at Packers Saints.
chaos.
Look at the Jaguars Texans. Look at the Bills Steelers game. A lot of interesting and like Cardinals Titans. Lots of interesting matchups.
Yeah, a lot of chaos.
And already giving fans either divine optimism or extreme skepticism going into these next 16 weeks of football.
Yeah. I want to ask a quick question. Name one thing you want to see improve from your team next week, if at all.
Oh God, I'm going first. I don't care.
Okay.
Easily secondary play. And this is a bit of a pipe dream because really, I don't think they underperformed. It's just like, God, there was just some plays that were just so infuriating to watch, and like they're still going up against Burrow and Jamar Chase next week. So it's not like it's not like they're going from the Rams offense to some dog shit one. Like they're still gonna play. They're still gonna be challenged, and it's gonna be just how they respond to it. And hopefully, it's not with Marquis Christian. I sincerely hope it's also not with Eddie Jackson's tackling ability, but ultimately, that's just going to be the X factors. They need the secondary to play better. No doubt.
All right, what are you thinking, Link, with the Titans?
I would pick Taylor Lewan. Okay, going to go with Taylor Lewan being good again. Or
Fair
figuring out what went wrong last game.
Fair enough. The Cowboys is a hard one. I want to say the secondary play, but we're kind of short-handed right now, and I'm more or less calling out Anthony Brown, so I can't really see Anthony Brown losing his snaps until Kelvin Joseph is back from injury. So it's kind of hard to say because the things I want to see improve from week one are kind of just injury-related things that happened after. I guess you could say I want to see the next man up mentality that McGovern had come again for guys filling in for Lawrence, filling in for Collins. But if we're talking an issue in week one, I want to see Dak make a couple better decisions in the red zone. He was excellent all game, but there were some times in the red zone where he makes a good throw, but there was a better throw that I know he had it in to make. And that's just, I think, a thing that's just happening because he had no preseason and a very limited camp. So I think as he gets more into it, he'll be firing on all cylinders on these decisions like he has in the past. I know another one is the run game, but I just think that the run game struggles were just more of a result of playing against Tampa than it was a result of otherwise. I know I went with more than one, but I I feel like they're kind of both. I think it was fair to say the reason why I picked that over the run game was just because I think the run game struggles was matchup based and not system or anything. But I guess we can move on to kind of quick previews for week two. So we can just go through predictions and then talk about a couple games that maybe catch the eye. Washington hosting New York. Who are you taking?
I'm taking the football team for that one. I thought it was a very, I mean, they're going to go with Heinicke for the this upcoming game. By the way, did call that in our predictions video about quarterback stability. Fitzpatrick's out for a little while, but
yeah.
Anyway, like you said, the Giants defense just wasn't very impressive against Bridgewater, and I feel like the Washington the defensive line is just going to eat up Daniel Jones and just make him lose all hope and everything, and he's just going to get. I don't know if I want to watch that.
I'm gonna say football team. I don't think I need to say too much. If Denver can manhandle them, then I think Washington can.
I don't know. I think the Giants can fight. I mean, like we still got to consider where they were at this offseason. I'm not going to put an insane amount of stock in the Broncos game over that. That being said, like being safe, I'd say you could probably go with the football team.
Yeah.
Just because the aforementioned reasons.
Right.
But I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants keep it close. Keep it within reach.
Two of the upset winners facing off in Pittsburgh. The Steelers are hosting the Raiders. Who are we going with here?
I got Raiders.
I'm gonna go with the Steelers.
I'm gonna be honest. I feel like this may be a repeat of last year's Steelers team. Just as very impressive. I mean, they went undefeated going into Week 10 against Washington, and then
hysterical.
That, I feel like this is gonna be another year of that. Give me the Steelers.
Yeah, I feel like the Steelers can go on a hot start, and because Ben's gonna be a little fresher at the start of the year, his arm can do a little more, and then yeah, I think that front seven's gonna feast too. To be honest,
Yeah, it's really good, but I'm gonna be honest. I do think that the Raiders can put on an easy play calling masterclass to come out with the victory.
yeah.
But hey, if the Steelers, I'll gladly take it back if the Steelers prove to go 8-0 again.
Oh yeah, and like I said, the Raiders are a trap game for anyone. This is no exception.
Exactly.
49ers going to Philadelphia. Who are we going with here? I'm taking the Niners.
I'm gonna probably take the Niners as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is. I mean, the Niners played. I mean, they played a good. They played a good 55 minutes. I mean, the last 5 minutes. I mean, I don't know what happened, but they still played a very good game through and through. The Eagles. I mean, they got an impressive win over a really dead Falcons team, but there you go.
Browns.
Niners.
Browns hosting the Texans. I'm taking Cleveland.
I'm taking Cleveland as well. A lot of these are pretty self-explanatory. Don't really need to be elaborated upon too much. In my opinion, at least, because just like the blowout matches and everything, like Steelers Raiders. That's a good one to talk about, because they're like that one could be a little bit more close, but
yeah,
like last, but I mean, I don't know. They seem pretty definitely.
That's fair. How about Bills Dolphins? I feel that could be a competitive game.
Yeah,
considering what we saw.
That's actually a good one because the Bills play calling week 1 was really bad, and the Steelers didn't even put up like a great fight against them, and they still managed to just win by 7.
Give me Buffalo. Give me Buffalo bouncing back. I feel I feel like Buffalo and Miami are going to have a very they're going to have this quote unquote AFC East battles, but when they play each other, I have a feeling they're going to have like a relationship or like just Buffalo is going to hammer them.
Kind of like Raiders Steelers. I'm going with Bills. I think they're safe. I think they're, in my opinion, they're a little bit of the safer pick here. Although I don't know, I did go a little bit risky with the Raiders, but ultimately, I think if you're gonna have an X factor matchup, then this is definitely another one to be looking out for.
Yeah, it's gonna be a close game, but I'll give Buffalo the win here. I mean, the spread is about even. It's at 3 points for Buffalo, or 3.5 for Buffalo. But I mean, it'll be a fun game to watch.
Yeah.
For some reason, that's on Fox, even though it's an AFC battle. But anyway, let's continue.
Broncos Jaguars. I think this is a pretty easy one. Denver.
Yeah, Denver's gonna win.
Steve.
We're going Bears, Bengals next.
No, Broncos, Jaguars.
Oh yeah, no, I agreed. I said yes. I said going up.
I think this one's this one's kind of a trap game. Saints at Panthers.
Okay. Oh yeah, I totally agree. Honestly, based on what the Saints did week 1, I'm gonna go with them.
I feel like the Saints will win, but I feel like if I was a betting man, I would take Carolina covering any spread.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Carolina's probably got their talent was really impressive, but again, it's just the New Orleans play against the Packers.
Yeah, I agree.
And again, you can call me a hypocrite, but I don't know, they were really impressive. And like you said, tomorrow was great.
I can see a really good defensive battle. It's just going to be a really good defensive battle, and the offenses are going to rely on Kamara and McCaffrey a lot to break through whatever defense is thrown out there.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you going here, Link?
This is actually a very tough one for me to pick because, like you said, we got two very good rushers, but I think this game's going to come up to who can pass the ball more efficiently. And we saw last week. I mean, Jameis Winston, he had a very good game against New Orleans, but he tends to have that boom and bust, like glass cannon almost like mentality. And can we rely on that for this week? And the Panthers are going with Sam.
Not
Darnold.
even sure we need to though. Yeah, because he's going up against Sam Darnold, who literally does the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Maybe not to the extent on the stat sheet that Jameis does, but I don't know. I think their lows are pretty similar.
I think I'm going to give this game to Carolina. I think I got a feeling in this, and I think hopefully
I respect it. I respect it.
Yeah. I honestly I feel like I want to take the Carolina upset, but yeah, I think this is going to be a close one.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to just put some money in something, get a big payoff, I'd go this for sure. But
yeah, but I think Carolina will cover any spread that's given to them.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Rams Colts.
Rams.
Yeah, I'm giving this one to the Rams.
All right, Patriots
no
Jets.
Bias.
Patriots.
Actually, yeah, I'll go Patriots.
It could be pretty close. I'm gonna be honest. If the Patriots do what they did last week, it could be closer because I think the Jets are due for a little bit of a surge. But then again, so might be the Patriots, and the Patriots you have to go with.
Yeah,
you have to go with what they've done to them in the past. So I'm going Patriots.
This could be a trap, but yeah, I think this is New England.
I think it'll be fun. I mean, 2 rookie quarterbacks, both with some quirks coming out of their draft resume. But hey, I think I'll take New England for this one. I mean, New England. Almost like every year had the Jets number, no matter what.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly.
All right, Bears hosting the Bengals. I'm going with the Bengals here.
Honestly, this is tricky, but as long as the Bears are starting Dalton, I can't disagree. I'm gonna fill up the Bengals as well.
The Bengals will win, and Chicago's or the Bears Twitter account will be for the next week spammed with Fire Nagy hashtags.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, dude. If the Bears lose this game by 30, Fields is literally starting like in week 3. It's like no question.
You're not.
Oh, yeah. I think, but like I said, I think I talked about this earlier. I'm considering taking the Bengals in Survivor. The Bears have their defensive profile similar to the Vikings, stronger on the front end. The secondary is a major issue.
It's hilarious.
And their offense isn't as good. It's not as dynamic. Let alone both of them have some issues on the offensive line. So I'm really liking the Bengals taking this year.
Yeah.
Because even though Andy Dalton did do well against the Bengals last season, that was when he had, Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and Michael Gallup to throw to, which that's not a luxury that he'll have in Chicago.
Exactly.
I guess next we'll go, Buccaneers hosting the Falcons. I think that's a very easy one to say Buccaneers for.
Yep.
Cardinals hosting the Vikings. Going into the season, I had a feeling the Vikings could win just by the virtue of Zimmer out coaching Cliff, but I feel like the Cardinals. I don't think the Vikings are good enough to kill the Cardinals' momentum. I think Arizona wins at home here.
I agree. Arizona's just gotten better too, just talent wise. It's just another year of development and everything. I mean, I think they're gonna outpace them again.
Especially if they have a situation like last week, not being able to get to the quarterback on a Bengals offensive line. We saw the game against Tennessee. If you give Kyler Murray a lot of time, he can do some ridiculous stuff and he will torch you. So yeah, I give the Cardinals the win here.
Yeah. Seahawks hosting the Titans. I feel like this is a game that Tennessee's offense could do better, much better, give Seattle a fit. But I think this game being in Seattle is what's going to seal it as a Seahawks win. That's a really good big home field advantage to have.
That's a very good point. This is like the first Seattle home game, not only this year but like since 2019, like with full capacity crowds. That is.
Yeah.
This is going to be a really tough game for Tennessee to play in, and as much as I'm feeling optimistic about Tennessee winning this one? I don't know. Then again, we do play somewhat well when we do go play in Arrowhead against Kansas City or other tough environments. So you know what? I think I'm gonna go with my gut here. I think Tennessee's gonna win this. It's gonna be a bounce back game.
Yeah.
I love Tennessee, but I'm just not gonna bet against the Seahawks here. It's a home game and everything. I can't do it. I'm just gonna go Seahawks.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, Cowboys Chargers. Game's in Los Angeles, but you gotta remember it's basically a home game for Dallas. It's a game I want to go to. I'm not sure if I'll be able to, but hopefully we'll see what happens.
And this is gonna be one that we really highlight on the review. I think it's gonna be high scoring. Gonna be a nice, healthy game of offense. Gonna be a good show of defense for the Chargers, though, and for both teams. I mean, it's just a really good matchup. I really think you could go either way here. I don't think any pick is that wrong, but ultimately, I don't know. I just like the Cowboys' seniority, and that's ultimately what's going to stand out for me here. Just going into this matchup, especially being week 1 or week 2, So
yeah, I think I'm gonna pick Dallas just as a homer pick, but this can go either way.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if you're betting. Take whoever's the spread. Take the spread. Take whoever's going to cover the spread. That's just my educated guess.
I will take the Cowboys.
Fair enough. All right. Final 2 games to discuss here. Chiefs, Ravens. Who are we? I'm taking Kansas City.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
gonna. Ravens are good, but not as good as the Chiefs. That's basically what I need to know.
And then the final game, Packers, Lions. I'm taking Green Bay, despite the.
Dude, you don't know how badly I want to pick the Lions, just so if they beat the Packers, I'm gonna cry laughing.
You know what?
So I'm picking the Lions. I don't care.
Yeah, just do it for the hell of it, man.
I'm picking the Lions. Picking the Lions.
Oh wow! Can I predict tie, or we're not doing that?
You can call a tie if you want to. That'd be funny.
Yeah. All right. Now let's be serious. Aaron Rodgers returning to his house, the Lambeau. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of emotions, especially after that game against New Orleans at Lambeau Field, especially on the sidelines, especially, all the chatter in the stands. I think Aaron Rodgers, he's not going to, I don't think he's going to have a 5-touchdown game where, passing completion over 90%. No, I don't think so, but I think he's going to have at least a acceptable bounce back game. Not like last week against New Orleans. I don't think you can go below that, though. Other than just not showing up. But yeah, I got Green Bay winning.
I guess for the final game, that will be that is the final game. So, yeah, that seems good. Do you have any picks? So we're doing a survivor pool. My current pick is Browns Texans, but I'm tempted to go with the Bengals here. Do you guys know what you're picking?
You're not yet, honestly. I hate to say that, but I got some time.
Understandable. Link, what are you thinking?
I picked the Bucks over the Falcons.
Fair enough.
I'll probably just go for something easy like that too.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to play the game of risk, but I am willing to play. Play it safe or take the game of risk. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
I guess that's it for the NFL, which has really taken up most of what we've talked about the last few times out.
Yes.
But we're finally going to give America's pastime some love now. Steven, we'll let you take it away with the playoff races, because why not?
Yeah. Wild card races are really where it's at right now. Like AL is the one to look at. Blue Jays and the Yankees. Blue Jays are really hot right now. Their offense is really good. They're scoring a ton of runs. Yankees are also doing well, but they've been on a skid lately, and the Blue Jays are kind of overtaking them, and so they're kind of neck and neck right now. It's kind of just which one gets hot these last 2 weeks that's really going to decide who makes it. At the end of the day, I don't think either of these teams lose because both of them are geared towards winning in the future, pretty significantly. The Blue Jays more than the Yankees, but ultimately they missed the playoffs this year. You still got most of this core going into next year. You're gonna have most of this core improved going into next year. You're gonna have another off season to fix some holes that may exist, replace some guys. Robbie Ray leaving, if he does, is going to be pretty significant. Marcus Semien, if he does, is going to be pretty significant. But ultimately, both these teams are playing the long game, and whoever doesn't make it is gonna they'll go into the off season hungry for more, excited to what's to come. But ultimately, yeah, just really close right now. And then I believe who's occupying the first spot again? I want to say it's Boston.
I think
just don't want
Toronto's
to be an
taking
idiot.
it up. I think Toronto's.
They've taken wild card one.
Yeah, they did for.
Oh, they have. Oh, wow.
Yeah. I was kind of high on the Jays.
They're all neck and neck. They're all.
I was kind of high on the Jays even when they were back. I mean, they were second in WRC plus in the whole league. I believe they were top 10 in xFIP and FIP. So I was thinking,
they have no weaknesses.
They've won 8 out of their last 10. They've been
So I felt like a hot streak was due. Part of me just doesn't know what's going on with the Yankees. I have a feeling that the Jays should be in. I really think that if someone has to miss and both of those teams are in, then if both, I mean, that is like a obvious statement here, but I feel like if someone has to miss, the Yankees have to make, it would be Boston and not Toronto. I feel very confident in the Jays. I think they're a great team. And I mean, the wild card race is looking fun. Mariners are kind of there. It would be fun to see them be in it, and this is before their window truly opens. And then, I'm rooting for the Blue Jays Mariners wild card game. I guess that's the way to put it.
A's and Mariners are kind of on the outside looking in right now. I mean, they could go on a hot streak and go for it. That'd be awesome to watch. But right now, I'm kind of looking at the AL East here.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yankees,
I just want
Red
to give them a
Sox.
shout to say that they're there.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And
The Mariners and A's have remained competitive.
Well.
They have, but they're still better. They're still better than the Mariners, and they're really not too far back from either of them. They're really just a hot streak away. And of course, we know the A's, they could do that. Again, I do think they're on the outside looking at, but they're worth mentioning nonetheless.
And then the National League has 2 races that are kind of 3, but it's really 2. The National League West, the Giants have a pretty big advantage right now, but the Dodgers have an easier schedule, though that series against the Brewers at the end is going to be a very big test to see who wins that division. The East is still kind of alive. I mean, it feels like the Braves will just peel away just by the virtue of being in the spot right now, but the Phillies and the Mets are still semi-close, I guess you could say.
They're not too far back.
Phillies are 3.5 games back. The Mets 5.5 games back, and currently, Atlanta is once again struggling to the Rockies for reasons unknown. Just say that. I mean, it's gonna. It doesn't feel like it should be this tight in the AL East, but something's happening. The Braves, I mean, these next couple, we're on the West Coast for these next couple series, and then we wrap up the month against Philadelphia, which is going to have a lot of potentially have a lot of implications on the on who's going to represent the AL East in the wild card. Or not the NL East in the playoffs, because
Braves have taken enough of a lead, in my opinion, to kind of cement themselves. I'm not really thinking the Phillies or Mets are going to make up too much of a push to make it. They're definitely not going to make the wild card anyway, or at least they're on the outside looking in right now.
And speaking of which, I mean, the Cardinals are in the spot right now, right?
The reason I wanted to wait until because basically the AL wild card is like Clash of the Titans. NL wild card is like who's gonna bleed who's going to bleed out for last. That's basically whoever is going to make the wild card too, because the Cardinals are making a push right now, no doubt. But again, the Padres are like a huge skid. Like their offense has been like abysmal in the last like month, I believe. The pitching since the crackdown is really took a hit. Snell bouncing back was nice, but ultimately, they're 4 games above 500. Likely going to be 5. They're beating the Giants right now, but I mean, seriously, they've got a tough schedule ahead. Man. Yeah, and they've got we'll talk about this later in the offseason because the Padres deserve either an in memoriam or perhaps they'll masterclass and we'll see what happens. But it's going to be a subject worth revisiting in the offseason.
But the talk of the town in the wild card race is out of the Central. Surprisingly, the Reds and the Cards are battling it out. Man, as a Dodgers fan, I just do not want to play in a wild card game. It's just, are you kidding me?
Yeah, it'd be annoying. Especially when against the Cardinals. The Cardinals are very pesky.
We could end up winning. Oh my God, the Cardinals just always kill us in the playoffs. We can end up winning 100 games this year, and a barely over 500 team is going to just have one game to knock us out. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's sad.
Like send the Braves to the wild card game for fuck's sake. What did we do to be put in there?
No, we are not playing a wild card game against the Cardinals. No.
Yes, you are.
Not again.
Not again.
Not again. We're not having that.
Look, I know both of our teams,
No.
We've been traumatized by the Cardinals in the playoffs too. I don't want to do this again.
But yeah, it's
I can't relive Matt Adams and Carpenter, man. I just can't.
Yeah, no, they're really pesky, and their offense is really showing. Their bullpen's getting better. Their back end's still really solid, and their rotation. Wainwright's on a tear. Is like a sub 3 ERA for the first time. Feels like since like 2010, which feels like forever ago. But he's still doing really well.
Yeah.
They're making a nice push. They're making a nice push. So we'll see. We'll see how it ends up. Obviously, having to face the Dodgers or Giants is going to be a real tall order, but having it be one game is going to be very reassuring to them.
And also, of course,
I wouldn't get too scared, Salt.
The Reds, of course, also look
at the spot. And the Reds. Yeah, the Reds have been. I don't know. Reds are in a weird spot. They've been on a skid recently. They've had some injuries. Winker's out. Winker's been out for a while, but India's still really good. He's probably locked up that Rookie of the Year at this point. I don't really see anyone making a huge bid at him.
I love how the National League Rookie of the Year race is just a lot weaker than the American League one.
It's pretty funny, yeah.
Like the American League one, we can talk about Wander Franco could legitimately be deserving of it, to be honest, despite not playing too long.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's a conversation for probably this off season or at the end of the playoffs.
For sure. Once everything concludes,
it's definitely better. Yes, exactly. But the real thing for the Reds is probably just going to be, kind of staying healthy, but really just when they're gonna just how they match up. Because I'm not sure their schedule as of late, but really, I mean, they got good guys. They've got the guys to do so. It's just gonna be kind of catching up to the Cardinals and just getting hot when they need to, which is basically just the theme of most of these NL teams, kind of looking and trying to secure that wild card 2 spot.
Just be hot at the
just
right
seeing which
point.
one can get hot or not.
Well,
exactly.
The Reds are trying to avoid. They got to try to avoid the sweep against Pittsburgh tomorrow.
Well, if you get swept by Pittsburgh,
especially at a crucial point in the season like this, I mean. It hurt, especially for the fans.
It really hurts, no doubt.
All right, I know this is weird, but speaking of the NL Central, and this is a very quick question, and I know this is a player debate, but I'm just gonna ask for a quick answer. Would you rather have Brian Reynolds or Tyler O'Neill?
It's a good question. I haven't looked into it too much. Off the top of my head, I want to say Reynolds, but both of them are very good.
Yeah.
It requires some extra research. I'm not too confident in my answer.
I'm sorry for putting you on the spot with it.
Yeah, if you had to put me on the spot here, I'd say Reynolds. That's where I'm leaning. That's where I'm leaning. But again, it's a rough guess.
Those are two players that really rose the ranks this year. I would say.
Absolutely. And Reynolds had it before, but there were doubts and everything. It was, short. It was like not a full season. He didn't really play a full season.
Yeah.
2020 was worse. 2021 he's really come out and really come into his own, which is nice.
But if
And
you had to
Tyler
go,
O'Neill just a full-fledged breakout.
if you had to go top of your head, Link, or if you don't,
I honestly can't give you an answer to that.
All right, fair enough. I asked because I want to seek an answer because I think they're both really good. But I guess
no doubt.
now that we have that done, I guess if there's anything else in the baseball world that intrigues you, go ahead, say it.
There's no hitter, which is really nice. Good for them. They deserved one at least this year with how good their pitching has been.
Which team?
The Brewers.
The Brewers, Corbin,
yeah.
Burns, and Hader gonna combine no with I think like 15 strikeouts. I could be wrong.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
But yeah, they deserved one for sure. Their pitching staff is. If the Cubs can get a combined no hitter against the Dodgers with 8 walks, and the Brewers deserve to get a combined no hitter against Cleveland, who's been no hit 3 times this year. Poor guys.
Yeah.
Talk about
other than that.
Remember during like March, April, there was like a no hitter each week.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. Oh my gosh.
That was weird. Now it's slowed down because
it's still happening a fair bit though. It's just not like
it's quieted down a bit, but it used to be real hectic.
Yeah. Have any other parting comments about the baseball season, or we good?
Not really. I think that's all I needed.
I guess all I can say is, please, I don't want to fucking play in a wild card game. Oh my god, I can't take that.
Yeah, I don't blame you. It'd be annoying to win 110 games after playing a wild card. No, not 110, but like win 105 have to play in a wild card. That'd be something.
Man, I guess for bonus minute, Link, if you have anything you'd like to bring up.
Yeah. You'll like this news because this had. We'll talk about it more, or I'll talk about it at least on the Fifth Down podcast. Find on YouTube. Shameless plug, but the Helton era is over at USC. I know you really, really like him as a USC fan because all he's done was just kind of underperform.
I'm a UCLA fan.
And not game manage at all.
Oh. But yeah.
But yeah. That's happened. That's like the big news after getting getting blown out by Stanford at home. By the way.
Yeah.
Not very good look. And that dropped them from 15th all the way to unranked. And with the new coaching, you have to, with Clay Helton gone, it's not really good for USC this year. So it's already been speculated that perhaps James Franklin will take the job, but honestly, I think these speculations are kind of. I don't think they're going to go anywhere. James Franklin, the reason he left Vanderbilt for Penn State because he wanted to be closer to home. That's why he chose Penn State. I don't see a reason to him to go out to LA when he, after his last job, or why he went there. But speaking of LA and something to do with the LA Coliseum, so NASCAR announced their schedule for this year, or this upcoming year, I'm sorry. A couple notes like Gateway over in over in the St. Louis area, they're getting the Cup race. That's I like that. I mean, I think it kind of Gateway, kind of reminds me of Darlington in a way, just a flat Darlington, just the way it's kind of shaped with the turns not being even on each side. But really like that. And I mentioned the LA Coliseum because that's where the Clash is going to be. At the LA Coliseum, I guess they're going to build a temporary track around the venue. But it's going to be in LA. I think this is this is something you see in video games. It's come to life. And you know what? I mean, a lot of NASCAR fans, they are kind of. I see a lot more negativity towards this than positive because they've always had the Clash, Daytona, blah, blah, blah. you know what? At this point, the clash means nothing. I think it. I can't say this is. I mean, I understand you want to keep speed weeks like this. The clash, the duels, and then have the Daytona 500 in like 2 weeks. But I mean, I don't know, man. I like this idea. This is only going to be probably for 1 year. I don't know. This is probably going to be temporary, just to try to boost fan interest because I know they're about to reconfigure Fontana into a short track. So this may try to build interest in racing by doing this big marquee event at the LA Coliseum. But I want to try to think optimistically about it. I mean, and another news, the playoffs, really boring Richmond race, but I mean, that's just because I don't think the package the aero package really complements it. But we got Bristol this weekend. I'm going. It's going to be the playoff cutoff. Hopefully, Reddick gets back in to the round, gets into the round of 12. He's 5 points below the cutoff line. It's very close. So we'll have to run well all day, get those get the playoff points because that's what killed him last week at Richmond. He ran well, ran top 20 all day, but he didn't pick up any playoff points, and that's how Almirola got ahead of him in the playoff standings. So that concludes my shenanigans.
All right. But I guess I'll have a pretty short bonus minute. F1 continued. Max Verstappen's back on top of the standings. Had his home race in where was it? The Netherlands. Soccer wise, Eduardo Camavinga, Real Madrid's big signing in the summer. Young wonder kid from France. He's had a big impact. Scored a goal in his debut, and just today in the Champions League against Inter Milan, had a big assist at the death to win the game. Goal to the Brazilian Rodrigo. Real Madrid definitely looked a lot better with Carlo Ancelotti as the manager. Lots of the young talent was looking good. Rodrigo, Vinicius, and the midfield duo of Camavinga and Federico Valverde has been super impressive. Thibaut Courtois has continued to look superb in net. Best goalie in the world, in my opinion. So yeah, I mean that's really it. I guess this is great to record. This is the 11th episode. Glad to have Steven back here.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a good way to return.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll all be back next week.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
And hopefully he'll be able to go see the Cowboys play. I'm looking forward to it. If I can't, well.
I'm gonna be actually at the Bears game, so I'm gonna get live reactions for you guys. I'm gonna be telling you how mad I get, telling you if I get kicked out of the stadium.
We're still going to think of possible live content. It's just possible that it may not start early as we like. We'll discuss and think about the best time. Keep looking at the Twitter for an announcement. Yeah, thank you very much. All right, we'll see you.